you are seeing this, it means something profound has already taken place within you, something invisible, yet unmistakably real. You have shifted. Not in your external world first, but in the deepest chambers of your mind and heart. Your inner eye has opened to a new vision, a new understanding of who you truly are and what your life is meant to be. You see, the world you walk in is not fixed. It bends and sways according to the landscape of your consciousness. When you change your inner state, the outer world begins to echo that transformation. This message you are seeing now is a beacon, a sign that your perception has moved beyond the old patterns of limitation, fear, and doubt. You have stepped through a veil. No longer bound by what once was, you now live in the realm of what can be. Your imagination, your belief, your feeling, these have become the architects of your reality. The shift is your awakening to the truth that you are not a passive passenger in life, but the conscious creator. This shift is not a final destination, but a new beginning. It invites you to walk forward with trust, knowing that the universe responds to your every thought and feeling. You are now tuned to a higher frequency, one where possibility is endless and life flows with ease. So embrace this moment. Let go of any lingering doubts or fears. You have already shifted. Now live as if your new reality is already here, for it is. The world around you will begin to mirror this new truth. The life you desire, the peace you seek, the joy you crave, all await your confident, unwavering belief. If you are seeing this, it means you have already shifted. Now, step fully into this new reality. Live it, breathe it, be it. Your perception is the gateway to your reality. It is not the world around you that determines your experience, but the way you see it, the way you feel it, and the meaning you give to it. Everything begins within you. When you notice a shift in your life, perhaps subtle at first, perhaps like a quiet whisper that something has changed, it is not the world that has moved, it is you. Your inner vision has changed. And as surely as night follows day, your world must respond. You may not have seen it happen in a flash. Shifts are not always thunderclaps or lightning bolts. Often they are gentle nudges, moments of deep awareness, where you no longer react the same way to what once unsettled you. You no longer chase or beg or fear. You begin to walk in a quiet knowing. That knowing is the shift. That certainty is the sign that your perception has aligned with a new reality. What you perceive determines what you believe. What you believe becomes what you live. When your perception expands, when you begin to view the world through the eyes of possibility, gratitude, and power, the impossible starts to appear possible. Doors open that once seemed sealed. People arrive who match your frequency. Circumstances rearrange to reflect the new story you are telling within. It is not magic in the way the world describes magic. It is law. It is cause and effect. The inner man leads, the outer world follows. When you start seeing beauty in what once brought you pain, when you begin to trust in the unseen more than the seen, you have shifted. Your attention no longer feeds your fears, but fuels your desires. You stop asking if it's coming and begin assuming it already has. That assumption is perception transformed. You can only receive what you are willing to see, not with your eyes, but with your awareness. Look around you, truly look, and you will find that the conditions you experience are mirrors shaped by the lens through which you view the world. And when that lens is cleaned, polished by faith, imagination, and a sense of worthiness, everything becomes new. To shift is not to force change from the outside. It is to allow truth to rise from within. You begin to see yourself differently. No longer small, no longer unworthy, no longer a product of your past. You stop identifying with lack and start dwelling in abundance, even before it arrives. And that dwelling, that steady inner posture, becomes the womb of manifestation. So if you feel the shift, honor it. Don't rush it. Don't second guess it. Instead, rest in the awareness that something beautiful is unfolding. Your perception has moved from shadow to light, from doubt to knowing. And as your vision changes, so too must your reality. It is already happening. You are already becoming. The new world is not coming, it is here, because you are finally seeing it. And that changes everything. Shifts are proof of awakening. They are not coincidences or random changes in mood or energy. They are signals, divine whispers, that something inside you has opened, released, and evolved. When you see a message like this, when you feel drawn to it, it is not by chance. It is evidence that you have already moved beyond the limits of your former self. The walls that once enclosed your mind have quietly fallen away, and you've stepped into a new dimension of being, even if you cannot fully describe it yet. You are not who you used to be. The doubts that used to consume you no longer have the same grip. The fears that once dictated your actions now feel distant, like echoes from a version of you that has already been left behind. This is the shift. Not a flash of light from the sky, but a subtle reorientation from within. Your awareness has expanded. Your consciousness has elevated. And the old identity, the one shaped by limitation, hesitation, and survival, has begun to dissolve. You may still look the same on the outside. Your surroundings might not have changed yet, but the shift is real. It begins deep within, in the quiet realm of thought and feeling. You are no longer reacting to the world in the same way. You are choosing, you are creating, you are becoming. The fact that you are seeing this now means you have reached the threshold, the place where the old timeline ends and the new one begins. This is not the beginning of your journey, but the recognition of your progress. The moment you perceive a shift, it has already happened. You have crossed an invisible line. What once seemed impossible now feels near. What once felt heavy now feels light. You are awake to the truth that you are not a prisoner of your past, not a victim of circumstance, but the architect of your destiny. You've awakened to the realization that life does not happen to you, it responds to you. And in that awakening, you are no longer waiting for permission to live fully, to love deeply, to receive abundantly. You understand now that the only limits that ever existed were the ones you accepted. But now you are saying no to that. You are stepping out of the old and into the now, into a life where your thoughts shape your world, where your beliefs set the course of your experience. Do not question the shift. Do not fear it. You have been prepared for this moment. Everything you have endured, everything you have learned has led to this expansion. You are not losing yourself, you are remembering who you really are. And as you walk forward in this new state of being, the outer world will begin to match your inner truth. Things will move, people will change, new paths will emerge. Why? Because you have shifted, because you are awake. And once awake, you can never return to the old way of being. You've outgrown it. And something greater now calls you forward, something that's already yours, waiting to be claimed by the awakened version of you that finally sees it. Reality responds to your inner state. It does not move at random, nor does it bend to effort alone. It mirrors you, the quiet, consistent truth of who you are being within. What you dwell upon, what you imagine over and over, and what you deeply believe to be true. These are not idle thoughts. They are blueprints. They form the unseen structure of the life you live now. The outer world is the echo. The inner state is the voice that calls it forth. You may believe your circumstances are fixed, that the facts around you determine what is possible, But this is the illusion. The truth is that circumstances are reflections. They are not creators. They are results. Everything that is showing up in your life today was first born within, in the emotions you repeatedly entertained, in the stories you've silently told yourself, and in the assumptions you've allowed to settle into your heart. Imagination is not child's play. It is the power of creation itself. Every great change, every new beginning started first in the unseen. Before the new job, the relationship, the breakthrough, there was a shift in perception, in belief, in inner state. Someone dared to feel differently, to believe something new. And that belief began to magnetize new conditions into their world. This is why simply working harder or chasing more rarely leads to fulfillment. Because if the inner man is still dwelling in fear, in lack, in limitation, then no matter how much is gained externally, it will slip away or fail to satisfy. The inner must come first. When you live from a state of peace, peace appears. When you dwell in gratitude, more arrives to be grateful for. When you feel abundance, not because of what you have, but because of who you are, the world rises to meet that truth. This is the secret most overlooked. Your feelings are not reactions to life. They are instructions. They tell life what to bring next. To dwell upon worry is to call forth more reasons to worry. To live in the state of already having, already being, already becoming, that is how you collapse time and bring your desire near. Belief is the soil in which your life grows. And belief is not simply a thought you think once. It is the thought you return to again and again until it becomes automatic, until it becomes you. To change your life, you must first change what you accept as true. And the most powerful truth you can accept is this: your inner state governs your world. Period. There is no force more transformative than a person who takes full responsibility for their inner world. Not blaming, not waiting, not hoping, but choosing. Choosing to feel different, to think higher, to imagine better. When you do this consistently, life begins to mold itself around the new you. So stop looking outward for signs of change. Begin within. Speak as though it is done. Feel as though it is real. Walk as though it is yours, because it is. Reality will catch up to your inner world. It always does. Your awareness creates your existence. Before anything appears in form, it is held in consciousness. Before a door opens, before an answer arrives, before a new chapter begins, something shifts within you. That shift is awareness. It is the moment you no longer see yourself as at the mercy of life, but as the very force shaping it. You stop reacting, you begin creating. You begin choosing how to feel, how to think, how to see, regardless of what the world presents. The moment you realize you've shifted, you step into power. You cross a line where the old patterns, the old stories no longer rule you. You may still remember them, but they no longer define you. You stop saying, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this revealing about my inner state?" That single shift in perception changes everything. You are no longer a victim of circumstance. You are no longer waiting for life to give you permission to feel joy, peace, or success. You understand that those states must be claimed first, within. And when they are, life begins to echo them back. People treat you differently. Opportunities emerge that once felt distant, not because the world suddenly became kind, but because you awakened. You stopped living unconsciously, and you began directing the flow of your own energy. This is the essence of conscious creation, becoming aware of your own awareness. Observing the thoughts you've been entertaining and asking, "Is this in harmony with the life I desire?" When you become aware, you reclaim your power. You can no longer pretend you are powerless. When you know you are the source, you can no longer blame others for what you've chosen to dwell upon. Awareness is more than noticing what is wrong or right. It is the light that reveals where you've been living on autopilot. It is the gentle nudge that says you can choose again. And in that choice, in that decision to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, your reality begins to conform. Slowly at first, perhaps, but inevitably, your world is a mirror. It reflects not just what you say, but what you believe. Not just what you want, but what you are willing to accept. And awareness is what sharpens the lens, what clears the fog of old conditioning. Once you see yourself as the creator, you cannot go back to being the character who suffers from his own imagined limitations. You have already shifted. The fact that you are recognizing it means the change is real. And now you are free to move forward in clarity, free to choose thoughts that serve your purpose, free to embody the life you've long desired, not in some distant future, but now, through the simple act of awareness. From this point on, nothing outside of you holds the power. You do, because your state of being, your awareness, is the cause. Everything else is the effect. The dream is not outside of you, it begins where you are. And once you know that, you are no longer the one who waits. Embrace the new frequency. You would not have found this message, nor felt its truth stir within you, unless something deep inside had already changed. This shift you're experiencing is not minor. It is not temporary. It is a new alignment, a realignment with a higher frequency, one that resonates not with who you've been, but with who you truly are. And that is the most powerful realization you can have. You have already tuned in to a version of yourself that sees more, feels more, and creates more. You may not have words for it yet. You may still be adjusting to the silence that follows the storm. But within you, something has become still, steady, and clear. What you used to chase no longer holds power over you. What used to burden you feels lighter. Why? Because you're now operating from a different frequency. And frequency is not fantasy. It is the invisible thread that determines what flows into your life. It is the vibration that attracts your reality. When your frequency rises, your perception changes. What once seemed impossible now feels inevitable. You no longer look for signs, you become the sign. You no longer wait for proof, you live from knowing. This is the elevation the shift brings. You start to walk with quiet confidence, not because everything has changed on the outside, but because everything has changed on the inside. That change is what the world must now respond to. The beauty of this new frequency is that it aligns you with things that were always there, but hidden from view. Possibilities, people, pathways, all just outside the reach of your former self. But now, you're attuned to a different signal. You're tuned into truth, into abundance, into peace that isn't dependent on conditions. And when you live from that space, your life begins to move in harmony with it. This shift is not something you force. You cannot struggle your way into alignment. You allow it. You surrender to it. You recognize that your greatest power is not in effort, but in your ability to feel and embody a state of being. You let go of the old frequencies of fear, need, and lack. You no longer match the energy of what you don't want. You rise, and as you rise, so does your reality. It is here, in this new state, that you begin to live as your true self. No longer reacting, but responding. No longer hoping, but trusting. You speak with intention. You move with purpose. And most importantly, you remain still inside, even when the world shifts around you. That stillness is your power. That stability is your anchor in the unseen. So embrace it. Embrace the version of you that is no longer afraid. Embrace the stillness, the clarity, the lightness that comes when you stop resisting what you've already become. The shift has occurred. The frequency has changed. And all that is required of you now is to remain there, to live from that place, to breathe from that place, and to let your outer world rise to meet the new vibration you now call home. Let go and trust the process. The shift you felt is not something that happens once and ends. It is not a single moment of clarity or a flash of inspiration that fades away. It is a continuous unfolding, a quiet and powerful transformation that begins within and moves outward. It is like dawn slowly pushing back the night, at first subtle, almost unnoticeable, but eventually undeniable. The more you surrender to this unfolding, the more you see that everything is and has always been working toward your highest good. You may not understand it all now. You may feel uncertain, disoriented, even doubtful at times. That is natural. But remember, the seed does not question the soil when it breaks open. It does not resist the darkness before the sprout. It trusts the process written within it. And so must you. You are not lost. You are growing. What you're experiencing is the undoing of an old version of you and the gentle emergence of who you are always meant to be. This unfolding may require you to let go of people, patterns, or places that once gave you comfort. But if they no longer match the frequency of your becoming, they will fall away, not as a punishment, but as a blessing. Do not try to hold on to what life is trying to free you from. If something is leaving, it is because something better is approaching. But to receive the new, you must make space. The mind will want control. It will ask for timelines and signs, for guarantees and evidence. But this shift does not operate on those terms. It is a higher intelligence, one that responds not to fear, but to faith. And faith does not demand proof. Faith is the knowing before the seeing. The inner conviction that no matter how it appears right now, everything is working in divine order. You are being rearranged for something greater. Every delay, every detour, every closed door is a part of the design. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is random. Every moment is leading you somewhere sacred. And the more you trust that, the more peace you feel. The less you resist, the faster things align. This is not about forcing outcomes. This is about becoming the version of you who naturally receives them. Letting go is not weakness, it is power. It means you are no longer trying to make things happen from a place of lack or urgency. You are allowing life to flow through you, knowing that what is meant for you cannot miss you. You are surrendering not in defeat, but in wisdom, knowing that your role is not to control the how, but to remain faithful to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So trust even when it feels uncertain, trust even when the evidence hasn't yet arrived. The shift has already begun. You are already becoming. And as you hold your inner state steady, grateful, receptive, all things will come into alignment in their perfect time. Let go of the old, trust the process. The path is unfolding beneath your feet, and it is leading you exactly where you are meant to be. You did not arrive here by accident. The shift has already begun within you, not as a sudden event, but as a quiet, powerful unfolding. You have become aware of your power, your frequency, and your ability to shape your reality from within. You now understand that your perception is the doorway to a new life, that your awareness is the cause, and that reality only reflects your inner state. You are no longer waiting for change. You are the change. Now you move differently. You think from the end. You trust the unseen. You let go of what no longer serves and make room for what aligns. And above all, you live in full knowing that everything, every delay, every moment, every breath is working in your favor. You have shifted. Stay there. Remain in that knowing. And let life rise to meet your new state of being Thank you for allowing these words to meet you where you are. You are not just hearing this, you are ready for this. The shift is real. The shift is you.